Okay, all right. So yesterday, I think we ended here, the benefits of our functional requirement. So today we're going to kick off from here, and then we will go several, directions, right? So yesterday we ended here, benefits of functional requirement, very important. So let's take a look at, an example of a functional requirement. So we've been talking about functional requirement, and can somebody volunteer and put in into the chat box what a functional requirement is? Yes, can I see somebody volunteer and put in chat box what is a very simple statement. We talk about it. I repeated it over 1,000 times, right? Because someone put it in the chat box over there. Let us know. There's a simple description of what a functional requirement looks like. Can somebody volunteer? Oh, there are no takers here. Can I get a taker here? Okay, somebody, Chris. The description of a service that the software must offer. Good, exactly. Thank you, Chris. Thank you. Good. All right. So let's take a look at the example over here. Functional requirement example. So one, let's use online banking. Somebody also put in something else. Okay, basically this description of software that must offer. Okay, all right. Thanks, William. Functional requirements specify what a system must do. Thanks, Isaac. Well, good. All right. So online banking application, the functional requirement will be when the customer, let's for instance, select the transfer, they must be able to transfer money in between accounts, right? So I'm a customer of ABC Bank, and I have multiple accounts, right? I have a savings account, I have a checking account and whatnot. I have maybe money market account and maybe a couple of, accounts. And so when I want to transfer, I can even have, multiple savings accounts. I'm saving towards, one account might be savings account, I'm saving towards getting married. One account I'm saving towards a college, sort of like a college fund, saving so I can be able to pay, I'll be able to pay my tuition fee. I have one account that, I use it for something else, maybe saving towards getting to buy a car. I should be able to transfer between these accounts. And so when I hit on the transfer button, when I'm in my account, right, I should be able to transfer money between these accounts, from accounts that I'm saving to get married, account that I'm saving to buy maybe automobile, account maybe I'm saving to maybe pay my tuition fee for, something for college. I should be able to transfer between these accounts, right? So the service, or what they, as you guys, touted out there, what the system must do or perform, that's what we call the functionality or functional requirement, right? Another example here is when a customer enters maybe a zip code, right? So let's say I'm traveling, I'm a Bank of America customer, right? I'm traveling, I'm over here in Atlanta, Georgia. And then when I got up to Atlanta, Georgia, I don't know anybody in Atlanta, Georgia, right? So I'm looking for the closest ATM. So we can have a functionality somewhere where, when you type in the zip code, or when you even search by the nearest ATMs, closest to me or near me where I am, I should be able to pull up all the ATMs that are available in my area where I am currently, right? So this is also another functionality, because we want to be able to serve our customers. We want them to be able to locate our bank. We want them to be able to get the kind of help that they need anytime and everywhere, right? So this is also very important feature, very important service that we want to offer to them. Okay, so we can go on and on and on and on. I can go and talk about different functionalities and for different platforms and different domains, but I think this too is okay as an example. All right, let's keep going. All right, so let's look at best practices of functional requirement. Best practices of functional requirement. These are like the checklist, do's and don'ts, right? These are do's and don'ts. So do not combine two requirements into one. Do not combine two requirements into one. Keep the requirements granular, right? Keep the requirements granular. Do not combine two requirements into one. Keep requirement granular. All right. You should make each requirement as complete and as accurate as possible, right? This is very important. You cannot be put information out there that is not accurate, right? We're going to be building something and we will deploy or ship out a product that will not be useful, that will be buggy. It's going to be a lot of defect. It will not serve what the customer or stakeholder is looking for, or customers are looking for, and there's going to be a lot of problems, right? We don't want to do that. So you should make each requirement as complete and as accurate as possible. So this is very important key, guys. The document should draft all the technical requirements. So as we do this as well, the document should draft all technical requirements. And like I've always said, guys, when we start a session, if you have any question, write it down somewhere. You know, when we get into the end of the session, about 10 minutes, or we're far out from ending or closing, that's going to be the time, right? You'll get an opportunity to ask whatever question that you have. I'm not looking at the chat. I get distracted, right? The document should draft all technical requirements, map all requirements to the objectives and principles, which attributes to successful software delivery, right? Elicit requirement using interviews, workshops, casual communications, all right? If there is any known verified constraint which materially affects requirement, then it is critical state that it should be documented, right? And so don't assume that we should know this. No, you need to document every module, right? Document every module, every functionality, anything that we need to see, guys. Don't underestimate, don't overlook, put everything all out there so that we know that this is what we're trying to build. It is necessary that you document all assumptions in the document. So tonight, I'm going to be running through a couple of things as you guys get ready for your first project or first assignment tomorrow. Maybe, I don't know, maybe tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'm going to be the stakeholder. I'm going to give you guys your first project. We're going deep, right? So there's to document assumptions, constraints. It's going to be important that you guys will document everything, right? Very important. Let's keep going. All right, let's keep going. So there are a certain kind of, quality that I expect that when you write requirements, I need to see, right? I got to be able to see that in your, requirements. When you put a requirement out there, I expect a certain kind of, delivery, a certain kind of, quality to show, right? Very, very important. Okay. All right. So I expect a certain kind of, quality, certain kind of delivery to show. What am I missing? Okay, all right. A certain kind of quality, a certain kind of to show. And one of them, the first one, oh, do I have? Oh, really, I'm still on. Let's take a couple of people drop. Okay. So the first one that I expect as a quality, right, as a requirement quality property is going to be the atomic. So when you write requirement, I expect it to be as clear as possible, right? Concise, straight to the point, right? I expect it to be like that. Low-level details, should not be separated and put somewhere else. I expect you to put everything together as concise as possible, straight to the point, as terse as possible, so that you can communicate to your audience, right? Very important. The next one is uniquely identified, right? Uniquely identified. So uniquely identified to the same thing. The requirement quality to check for uniquely identified. Here we have two separate requirements. If you have two separate requirements, you got to be able to identify them, or sort of decorate or badge them. So if you're going to put some numbers, say number 1, number 2, you got to be able to like sort of separate each requirement, and don't just write a whole statement or a paragraph and say this is your requirement, right? This is all that we're talking about here. Uniquely identified. So you say maybe FR1, FR2, functional requirement 1, functional requirement 2, functional requirement 3. Let us know all the features, functionalities that are out there, right? Don't just put everything all out there and say, hey, this is your requirement, right? That is not how we do it, guys. So uniquely identified, that means you're going to put it is very important that you put out there some identification, right? So that when I see this, I definitely know that, oh, okay, this is what this means. This is a separate requirement. This is a different one as well, right? And then your requirement should also be complete. Your requirement should also be complete, right? Your requirements should always, all the time, it should be complete. For instance, on the school admission portal, or maybe you guys are, sort of, shipping out or maybe deploying what we call LMS, right? LMS is Learning Management System. Most colleges and most universities and around the world, they use LMS. There are powerful, great LMS tools out there, learning management systems out there. So if you guys are rolling this and you guys are talking about, sign up for professors and, department heads, it's very important that, you state your requirement be complete. Don't just say every professor will log in, just an example, right? Or every student will log in, or every professor will log in using their username, password, and all other information. That will not be correct, right? If you just say every professor will log in using their username and password and every other information, that's not correct. The right thing or the correct way for us to measure completeness is going to be something like this. Every professor will log in using their username, password, and their department code. Whatever the specific information might be, whatever information that we need to put in, well, we need to know. You got to be specific, right? Don't assume that by just saying and all other relevant information. What is that all other relevant information? That is unacceptable, right? So we cannot accept that. So tomorrow, for instance, when I give you guys your first project, you guys will start documenting and putting your business requirement document together. There are certain level of quality and certain level of thoroughness that I'm going to be expecting, right? So complete, very important. Don't just say and all other information, or you start using the word etc., etc., no. That is going to be it's not going to be accepted, right? You cannot be using etc. and etc. and all other relevant information. Now, you gotta be specific, right? Very specific. And then consistent and unambiguous, right? Consistent and ambiguous. Traceable, very important. You gotta be able to map different requirements, whether it's from design, architecture, infrastructure. We got to be able to map the requirements very well so that we know where this map to, where this goes, so that you map you need sort of identification. You got to be able to identify them, that this map to this point, this map to this requirement, this feature, right? And then prioritize, right? You got to be able to prioritize your requirement as well. You cannot just say we will work on all these features at the same time. No, some features will be elevated or will be promoted in the order that we should work on, right? So you got to be able to prioritize this as well. And I hope you guys remember. I talk about Moscow, right? You guys remember Moscow? Can I get somebody put it in the chat box what the acronym Moscow means? Can I get a taker here? Put it in the chat box for me. What Moscow? We talk about this. So as you prioritize, some things can be deferred, some things should be prioritized as well. Can I get a taker here? Somebody? Okay, all right. Must or should, and then could or would. Thank you, Chris, again. Thank you. All right. So great. And then testable. So, now that you guys are beginning to see that all the things that we're talking about now, they are beginning to align, right? It's becoming relevant. All the things that we have been talking about from the beginning, now you guys are beginning to see that it's coming together. We're going to start using some of these things as we start our project from tomorrow. I hope if I'm able to finish up with the series I have today, then tomorrow, that means we get it into projects. How cool is that, right? How exciting is that? All right. So prioritize, it's very important. And then testable. The requirement should also be testable. We cannot have a requirement that we cannot validate, we cannot verify, right? We cannot have a requirement that you just put something out there and then nobody can verify it or nobody can test it. For instance, if a page should be able to open or should be able to open in 5 seconds, you will not just state that this page will open when it opens, right? So if it takes 1 hour, 5 hours, 10 hours, we can leave our home, go to the mall, go for shopping, come back, and the page is still buffering, right? Now that is going to be honest. So we got to be able to test, and how we test, we have to be specific. We got to be specific, guys. We got to be able to say this page must open in 5 seconds. It must open in 10 seconds, right? So very, very important quality attribute. So you don't just leave things vague. That's the point I'm trying to make here. All right, let's keep going. Today I want to finish up with this so that tomorrow we can start our project, our first waterfall project, by gathering requirement. Mistakes whilst we make, some of the mistakes that we make here whilst we're creating functional requirement. So guys, very important, please take note. I think this evening I saw that people were asking me, is there a video for last night? I kept reiterating. I re-echo on this a couple of times yesterday that take note, take a screenshot, whatever that you can do it, right? It's going to happen like rapture, right? Right, because it's intentional, right? I'm not going to post videos out there every day, but I want people to be in the habit of writing something down, taking something down, take something with you, right? Very important. So mistakes while we make, sometimes using when we're gathering functional requirement, putting in unjustified extra information that may confuse developers. Now put in sufficient details in the requirement document. You add rules, examples, scoping statement. I'm going to run very fast here, guys. Objectives, anything except the requirement itself. Left that piece of information that is absolute and must fully, accurately, and definitely state the requirement. Some professionals start to defend the requirement. They have documented when requirement is modified instead of finding the correct truth, right? This is critical, guys. Requirement which are not mapped to an objective or principle. So this is something that you guys need to keep in mind as well. Let's keep going. All right, let's start with non-functional requirement. So we'll talk about functional requirement, and you guys done an awesome job. I asked you guys, Chris and Isaac, you guys all put it in there what functional requirement is. Let's start today with non-functional requirement. Let's touch on non-functional requirement today. So what is non-functional requirement? So this one to the same thing, just like you guys did. I expect you guys to know this by heart, right? In a heartbeat. All right. Non-functional requirement, or you can say NFR, specifies the quality attribute of software system, right? So this one, we're not talking about service. We're not talking about what the application is going to offer to you, but we're talking about a quality attribute, right? We're talking about a quality attribute here. So this is very, very important. So what are we talking about here? They judge the software system based on responsiveness. Guys, take note. This is coming up. We are unpacking this right now. Responsiveness, number one, right? Usability, security, portability, and other non-functional standards that are critical to the success of the software system. So when we are talking about non-functional requirements, we are talking about what? Quality. You guys have to keep this in mind. Quality attributes. We're not talking specifically about the service that is being rendered. No, we're talking about certain quality attributes, right? We're talking about quality attributes here, and just a handful. Responsiveness. When I get on the portal, click on something, I click on some buttons. The buttons enabled. I click on some header menus and other things, drop downs. All these things working. Responsiveness. When I if I open a website on a mobile phone, how does it respond? The responsiveness again. I'm going to be looking at that. So a quality attribute, right? Usability, how user friendliness of your platform. Is it very easy for me to navigate around and find information that I need, or I have to struggle, call my uncle, call my auntie, call somebody to come and help me to find information? Security. Am I comfortable? Am I comfortable entering PII, right? For those that are in the cybersecurity space, we talk about PII, personal identification, right? Information, my name, my date of birth, my credit card information, my address, data that concerns me, right? Private data. Am I comfortable coming to your platform and entering all this data in there? Is your platform secured? Do you have SSL on your platform to make me feel comfortable that whilst I'm entering this, there's not going to be a data breach where hackers and some unauthorized people can have access to my personal data. So all this information is very important, guys. This is very critical. As a common platform, any platform I go on, I'm looking out for all the security features. That do they have a PCI? Are they PCI compliant? If I'm paying something over here, I want to be able to check out and see some of these things and make sure that I'm comfortable and I'm confident that my data will not be compromised, not in any way, right? Very important. And then portability also over here, and then other stuff that we're going to be talking about. So example of a non-functional requirement is how fast does the website load, right? How fast does the website load? How fast does the website load? There's an example of non-functional requirement. Failing to meet non-functional requirement, guys, it could be serious stuff, right? Failing to meet non-functional requirement can result in system that fail to satisfy user needs. So if I come on a platform and all the time, every day I come on a platform and I click on anything, trying to check out something, looking for information, whatever I'm trying to do, I got to stay on your website, keep buffering, pages are not opening. And if it opens, it does not stay on. And within 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 5 seconds, the pages crash, the app crash, it closes by itself. I mean, these are all, non-functional stuff that we got to take care of, right? So how fast does it load? Is it stable? Is there stability here on the platform? Are things crashing? We got to be able to make sure that, we have a great platform for our users, because it will turn them off, once they come on in and they don't have a great user experience. I bet you they will not return. They will not come back again, right? Because they were not satisfied. They were not happy the first time that they came, right? So this is very important, guys. Very important that, we keep this in mind. All right, let's keep going. So advantages of non-functional requirements. So non-functional requirements ensure that the software system follow legal and compliance rules. They ensure the reliability and availability and performance of the software system. They ensure good user experience and ease of operating the software. They help in formulating security policy of the system they help in formulating security policy of the software system. So this is very, 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 very important as well, guys. It's very, very important. So we look at these advantages of non-functional requirement. These are great key points that you guys have to keep in mind. Great key points you guys have to keep in mind. Now, disadvantages. Let's look at some disadvantages of non-functional requirement as well. So non-functional requirement may affect the various high-level software subsystems. They may require special consideration during the architecture, high-level design, which increases cost. So sometimes, if you want a great platform, as you guys looking at infrastructure, architecture, and all those type of things, you would have to spend money, right? You would have to dole out a lot of cash, right? You guys will have to dole out a lot of cash to be able to, be able to build great infrastructure. Implementation does not usually map to specific software subsystems. So very important. It is tough to modify non-functional once you pass the architectural phase, right? So I think we talk about this. When you pass the design phase, and then especially in waterfall, right? When you're using waterfall, it's very difficult to go back again. That means you have to undone all the things you've worked on, and then you'll have to rework on all these issues and features again, right? Very important. All right, let's keep going. Types of non-functional requirement, right? Just as we talk about the types of functional requirement the other day, here we have some types of non-functional requirement, So usability requirement, serviceability requirement, manageability requirement, recoverability, security requirement, data integrity requirement, capacity requirement, availability requirement, scalability, right? We got to be able to scale up, right? Whilst we're building our platform, we got to be able to make provisions, start thinking. Now that our users, we have just 100 customers, but what if, we blow up and then maybe the next 6 months, we need to be serving, 1,500 people, right? What if, down the line, maybe 12 months, we blow up, we got to be able to start thinking about scalability, how we're going to be able to scale up, right? And how our system will still be able to support this number of users, right? Very important. Interoperability, reliability requirement, maintainability, regulatory requirement, environmental requirement. So guys, I cannot say this enough. This is another critical types of non-functional requirement you guys have to keep in mind. And when we're talking about features, you guys will have to start saying some of these things that, what about this? What about this? What about security? What about data integrity? What about capacity? What are we thinking about this? Availability, always on, right? High availability, right? We want our platform to be available, accessible to our users all the time and not be down. We don't want some downtime with our databases, right? So very important, very, very important here. All right, let's keep going. Keep going, guys. So non-functional requirement example, let's look at example. We've already talked about one, but software requirement can also be non-functional. It can be performance requirement. For example, a non-functional requirement is where every page of the system should be able to be visible to the users within 5 seconds, right? So when you click on a page or try to read that, you get to another sub pages on header menu or footer menu or anywhere whilst we are still on the platform, it should open within 5 seconds. If it does not open, it goes beyond 5 seconds, then we're gonna have a problem, right? If it goes beyond 5 seconds, that means we have an issue. If it takes 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes for just a page to open, that means we have a serious problem, right? So when you look at all the big giants, you go to the pages, you go to Amazon, as many as product that are on the eBay, many sellers, vendors, suppliers, product that are out there, but it's still fast. You click on it and it opens for you. You click on anything, it opens for you, right? So we got to make sure that they have some performance requirement in there, right? To make sure that they did not incur the wrath of their customers by waiting on one page for 30 minutes, right? That's going to be crazy. It's going to be ridiculous if we need to open a page and we need to spend about 30 minutes for just one page to open, then that's a problem. All right. So non-functional requirement example, that is it, guys. Some more examples over here of non-functional requirements. So as we talk about security and all those type of things that we talk about in the last two, I think, previous slide, here are examples of some non-functional requirement that this is going to help you, right? This is going to help you guys as we take our first project from tomorrow going, maybe what's today? Today's Tuesday, Wednesday, maybe from Thursday. I don't know, depending on how fast we're able to finish with this, today. All right. So an example of a non-functional requirement is users must change their initially assigned login password immediately after the first successful login. Moreover, the initial password should never be reused. What does that mean? So an example of, security measure in our systems might be this first one, right? So when we assign new password to our employees, to a customer, to whoever, we make sure that immediately when they log in with a temporary password, we prompt them to change it and put in their own new password. And again, that new password, the old password that they use, we should have a business rule in there that will not allow them to reuse that same password again. So if we give you a new temporary password, Monday01, capital MONDAY01, and then you enter it into the system with a corresponding username. Once you're able to log in, we'll prompt you that you need to change your password, right? And then when you change it, that initial password that we gave to you, the Monday01, you cannot use it, right? How many of us have seen this on different platforms? I know we've all, but I just want to see whether we're paying attention here. So how many of us have seen that? Yes, yes, yes. I want to see a yes, yes, yes in the chat box. So yes, yes, yes. Good. All right. Yeah. So this is an example. This is, if you didn't know previously, now you know, right? This is an example of a non-functional requirement. This is an example of a non-functional requirement. All right, number 2, employees never allowed to update their salary information, right? Such attempts should be reported to security administrator, right? So it's going to be chaos. It's going to be, we're going to set bad precedent if in our system, anybody can log in, anybody can have access to whatever database, update salary information, whatnot. What a world will this be? If anybody, we can all do whatever we want, right? This is unacceptable, guys. And so there's got to be a security measure. There's got to be something in their business rules that will not allow certain individuals to have privileges and access to certain systems or certain tables and whatnot, right? Very important. Every unsuccessful, so this is also another very important one, the third one, every unsuccessful attempt by users to access an item of data should be recorded in the log, right? We got to be able to keep track of all activities in our system, right? We got to be able to keep track of all activities, whatever that's happening. Whether somebody had an error, somebody tried to log in, unsuccessful attempts, how many times they try, there has to be logs. We got to keep logs of all this, where they're logging in from which part of the world. We got to keep logs. We got to keep track of all these things, right? Very, very important. So if whether you are successful or unsuccessful, that's the point here, right? Not just unsuccessful, as I put it out here. Whether you're successful or unsuccessful, we got to keep track of this. So we got to keep this. We should record this in the system, right? System have to keep track of this as well. A website should be able to handle 5 million users without affecting its performance. Critical, very important, right? A website should be able to handle 5 million users. You think about BBC, think about CNN, think about all these, major news outlet portals that we know, right? You think about all these platforms that millions of people, several hundred thousands of people get onto every day. Think about festive season, Christmas, Easter, Val's Day, what other festive season, where there are high traffic, people are trying to get a deal. Black Friday, yeah, that's the whole I'm trying to remember. Black Friday, everyone's trying to catch on something, a deal, right? Whether we get a deal or no deal, it's another matter, right? This is going to be part of a larger conversation that we'll have to have in the future. Whether is it true that we get a deal or there's no deal? It's just a name, Black Friday, okay? But essentially, there are millions of people, but your platform, we got to be able to have some infrastructure, architecture, take care of performance issues such that, whether 5 million people or 10 million people are hitting on your portal, our system should not go down, right? It's got to be up and running. It's got to be up and running, guys. It's got to be up and running and serving our customers. It should not go down because we have 200,000 people on our platform trying to buy something, trying to order a product, right? It should not go down. So we got to be able to build systems that are solid, that can stand, all this type of, stress and performance, that this kind of endurance test, right? Whether we have 3,000 or we have 30,000 or 3 million people, right? We got to be able to stand all this type of performance tests. All right, the last one here is an example of non-functional requirement. Guys, keep in mind, keep in mind, privacy of information. Privacy of information. So keep in mind, guys, privacy of information. The export of restricted technologies, intellectual property rights, etc., should be audited. So this is another great example of non-functional requirement. Privacy information, export of restricted technologies, intellectual property rights, etc., should all be audited. So guys, changing of password, certain people, employees, should not be allowed to change their own salary information. Every unsuccessful attempt by a user to access an item or data should all be recorded in our logs. Very important. Website should be able to handle 5 million users. Great examples of non-functional requirement. Keep in mind, right? Keep in mind. How are we doing with our time? All right. So yeah, let me run through this quick and then see if I can finish this so that tomorrow we started with our waterfall project. One example. Okay. All right. So gather requirement activity. We've talked about all these things, but here is a typical structure. So we have the work breakdown over here to the smallest unit. So you take a look at every requirement. You know, we have some requirements, some features that are big, and then we break it down just like that, right? Break it down. So we call something WBS, work breakdown structure. In project management, if you're taking the PMP exams, you will encounter some of these things in that work breakdown structure. Estimate effort per unit, estimate duration per unit, identify dependencies, prepare and modify requirement plan, right? So we've talked about all these things, requirement. Let's have a calendar here. Let's look at a typical, duration, time that, some of these activities that we've talked about for the past 5 days, last week and yesterday and today, how all of these things will happen, right? So over here, I have a table here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 columns or so, and some X, Y, Z number of rows. So we have SI number, we have the tax, we have duration, start date, end date, dependencies, resources, right? So as you guys can see, I have, the tax one or the current tax one over there, requirement station documentation. So over here, as an example, this is just an example, right? Over here, I have here. So guys, this page is going to be critical, right? For you to understand how things are done. I want you to, if you're doing something, I'm going to ask you to pay attention over here because I might not repeat myself over here again, and I expect you to get it, right? Expect you to get it. So it's very important. So we have requirement elicitation and documentation, right? So we have the duration over here, 17 days. I want you to pay attention over here on this screen because it's going to be very important, right? For you to understand how, your elicit requirement with stakeholders. So we have 17 days is what I have down here as the number of days is going to take me to gather all this requirement, and then somebody keep coming on and keep exiting. Let me see. Okay. I don't know who keep coming and keep exiting, but okay. All right. So 17 days. So let's say the starting date is March 1st, right? So the starting date is March 1st, and then we're going all the way to what, 23rd of April, right? So let's say this is the duration that we have on our calendar. It could be any day. So we just working with this one over here, right? So I have a couple of features that I'm gathering requirement on. As you guys can see on the tax, I'm going to be working with stakeholders on sign up registration process, how we want this to be done, log into the app, view, log into application or app, view bank account balance, wire transfer within and outside the bank, bill payment, in-network bill payment, out-of-network bill payment, and then you guys will see. So this is how it works. So as you guys can see, sign up and registration, right? Sign up and registration. We're starting, I've put down over here, it's going to take me 2 days, right? 2 days to gather requirement on sign up and registration, to put out information, all the things that I need to know, I need to have, put down from our stakeholders and make sure that, I've captured every detail. I said sign up registration, it's going to take me 2 days. So from March 1st to where March 3rd. So March 1st and 2nd is going to be 2 days that I'm going to use for this process, right? So by March 3rd, I'm done. So that's the end date over there, right? So when I say sign up and registration process, you guys will be wondering, so what kind of registration process are we talking about here? So let me go on Google and see if I can find a registration form, typical registration form, right? I know you guys have seen some registration form. So what you guys fill out there, like first name, last name, middle name, address line 1, address line 2, city, town, state, region, zip code, and all other relevant information, right? Imagine it's an application to maybe open up a bank account, application to sign up for a school, application to do something out there, right? So sign up process, right? It could be a sign up process to open up a Gmail account, right? So they're going to require some information, right? And all this information they're going to require, there are critical piece of information, details that are out there that we need to pay attention to. You know, I know we've all signed up to Gmail, signed up to Yahoo. For those who are so loyal, I know I might find some loyal fans in here, you know, who are still addicted and so loyal to the, you know, Yahoo, right? So, you know, there are critical details on the form that we fill, but, you know, unknowing to us, for us, we just fill our form and just go submit and then we're done, right? But when you take a look at the first name field, text field, the middle name, last name, these are all text fields, and there are certain data mapping logics that needs to happen in there that we need to capture, right? So for instance, if it's a first name field, we're going to say, okay, first name, are we going to allow people to enter number in there, like numbers in there? No, this is first name. We know names, unless maybe, I don't know, I've not been to, I don't know whether there are some parts of maybe our world where they use numbers to represent their names. I don't think so, right? Names. So all names are what? Captured alphabet. They are alphabets, right? So first name, we got to be able to state right there what's going to be the minimum characters that we're going to accept for first name, what's going to be the maximum, you know, middle name, last name, you know, we got to be able to define all these things out there. So this is why requirement gathering and station process is going to take 2 days. There's going to be a lot of things, details. Are we going to make first name, middle name, last name a mandatory field, like a required field? If you don't put in this detail, you'll not be able to advance to the next screen or next page or proceed towards advance, you know, with your application, right? So we got to be able to put all these details down there, right? If it's a required field, we got to put it in there. If it's not going to be a required field, we got to put it in there, you know, for all the other details. Typically on a, let me try and see if I can, let me see if I can pull up a typical form, registration form, so that you guys can see, we can all see what I'm talking about. So sign up form, registration form, example. So typically that's how it's done, right? That's exactly how this is example. Okay, let me stop sharing this and let me share a typical business registration form. All right, can you guys see my screen? I just changed what I was sharing. Let me see a yes in the chat so that I know you guys are following. So I'm not talking to just myself, right? Let me say yes in there, so I know you guys are following what we're doing. Okay, great. All right. So let's take this one as an example. Vendor registration form template, right? I see over here, company name, telephone, fax number, email, point of contact. It's very small, but I hope you guys can see it though. All right, mailing address, website, you know, all these details sometimes on an online form, you know, it's going to be captured. That's the same thing, right? So, you know, student registration form. I've picked another example over here. So first name, middle name, last name, you know, birth date, you know, there's a drop down for the month, you know, day, the year, the gender, address. So there's a bunch of information that needs to be filled out, right, on every sign up form, right? So you're going to be talking to the stakeholder on a sign up process for that product, for that feature, whatever you guys need, that has to be captured at that level. You're going to be interacting and interfacing with stakeholder. You're going to be capturing all these details, right? And then it's not just this. When these details are all filled out, the user will also have to maybe pick up a username, a password, and there are rules, business rules that are under, or that's going to be behind all this username and password. Username, are you just going to accept just alphabet only? I know you guys have been doing this, but you guys have not really think deep about this, that, oh, so this is how all of these things happen, or this is how it works, right? But somebody captured that business requirement, just like we're doing today, right? So username, is it going to be all alphabet, or is it going to be so a combination of alphabet and numbers, so alphanumeric, right? Are we going to allow people to type 50 characters long in username field, or just minimum of 1, minimum of maybe 5, or minimum of maybe 6, and a maximum of maybe 25 or 50 something, right? So, and then password comes with a whole stack of rules, right? A whole stack of rules. You need to have different combination of this, alphabet, numbers, special character symbol, whatever, it has to be not less than 10, minimum of 8, whatever. So you guys will specify all of these things, right? The other fields that are mandatory fields, as you guys can see, you see the red, asterisk over there. So that means this field is required. It's a required field or a mandatory field, right? You cannot skip this field. That's basically what this tells you, or what this means, right? So typically when we do requirement gathering, that this is how it is done. So as you talk to the stakeholder, you ask the stakeholder, so what are you going to require? The person will tell you, we're going to need email, we're going to need phone number, we're going to need this, right? We're going to need maybe the sign-up process will start like this. We will let the user enter maybe their phone number first. When they enter the phone number, we will send an OTP. OTP means one-time password, to their cell phone as an SMS. And they will have to confirm that OTP. And the OTP, you guys have to define, it's going to be 6 digits. It's going to be 4 digits. It's going to be 8 digits. So all this process, you guys have to think through all these processes, right? And then once the OTP is verified, the SMS is received, the one-time password is received, and then the user or customer enters it, and then they'll proceed to the next stage where they'll capture all the first name, last name, email, phone number, address, and what have you, right? Etc., etc. So all these details is going to be discussed. Even the color of this background, right? Are we going to keep it as gray? Are we going to keep it as white? Are we going to keep the company logo on the side somewhere? Are there going to be some terms and condition information that the users have to read as they providing all this data to us? Some privacy policy information. All this data must be captured. So you're going to be working with stakeholders. You're going to be liaising with compliance departments so that they can draft some privacy policy information, so the users can read whilst they're signing up. You got to read what you're signing up for, right? You cannot sign up for something that you do not know exactly what you're getting yourself into. So privacy policy, terms and condition statements, all these things. 2 days, you got to be talking about this with compliance. They'll be drafting something for you, working on something for you, or something has been triggered and they're already working on something for you in that line, right? So guys, let me go back to my screen again. I hope this is clear. You guys get it, right? All right. Let me go back to the other screen. Okay. Stop sharing over here. Then go back to that screen. All right. Go back to that screen so we can. I know we have some 5 minutes left. God, we are being rush time right now. Hopefully, I can finish this one so that tomorrow, we can start some projects, right? Hopefully I can finish, but let's see. All right. So sign up process said 2 days from March 1st to March 3rd, right? You've captured the details, and then login comes in. So you have, the first one, sign up, login. Login is also another beast by itself. So, you guys can Google this, and I can go back if you guys want. I can go back to this and I can type in login form. Okay, let me see if I can pull up another login form so you guys can see this one as well. So a typical login form, how it's going to look like. You guys will have to define all these things. Login form. All right, let me share my screen here. So like I said, I've been telling you guys, it's process oriented. You can't miss a thing, right? You don't want to skip something. You don't want to miss something, right? So as you can see, these are different login forms. You come to Google, you say login form. You're going to have a bunch of, login form pulled up. Let's take a look at this one, right? So we can say for login, where we will accept emails only, right? Or login, we will accept your username, right? Or we can, a combination of that. It depends. It's just a business, as usual type of thing. Whether we'll go with just email as your login, username, or we go with your username that you've created for yourself, and then your password, right? So we're going to have something like this. Sometimes we can have something also like this, right? Username, password, and then forget password. You guys see that there's a link over there that says forget password. So if you forget a password, there's going to be a process where you can reset your password, right? All of these details will have to be discussed. How do you reset your password? Where does it go? So when you forget about your password in the login on our platform, you hit on the forget password, and then another form or page, or you'll be redirected to another page where you'll be prompted to enter your email address, right? And maybe a security question just to validate who you are. And then we will send you a link to your personal email where you go back to your email, your Gmail, Yahoo, or whoever the email client might be. And then you access your inbox. You see that reset email that we have sent to you. There's a link embedded in that email, even the content of that email, right? It's not just going to be a plain email with just a link. There's going to be some information, some content that's going to come with that email. We need to discuss all this information. What are we going to say? Dear sir, hello, whatever, customer, whatever. What information are we going to put? What verbiage? We call that verbiage. Keep it in mind. I might not repeat again, but I might repeat again. Who knows? Verbiage. What is going to be the verbiage that will come in with that email, right? What's going to be the content that's going to come with that email? The link is going to be embedded in that email that will come. You have to click on it, and then you'll be redirected to a page where you can reset your password. So all this process, right? Login, username, password, forget password, all these things that you see, the button that we're going to put out here, what color of the button, all those type of things, the text font, all these things will be discussed, right? The background image, the color scheme that we have out here, all these have to be discussed. There are so many login forms, right? So as an example tonight, or as an assignment tonight, you guys can check out some of these things that I've been talking about, right? The registration form, the login form, check out different ones. There are so many of these login forms out there. Just type in login form, you're going to see a whole bunch of this login form. All right, let's come back so that I can finish with this. So I want to finish with this tonight. Tonight, you guys will have to maybe give me 5 minutes, right? Is that okay? Let me say yes, so I can finish with this before we end this session tonight. Can I say a yes? So I know you guys are with me. You're giving me your 5 minutes. I want to finish this tonight. Okay, let me see who's giving me 5 minutes. Can I say yes? Okay. All right, give me 5 minutes, guys. Let me finish with this tonight, and then tomorrow we'll do something else. All right, so log into the app. We've talked about that, all the details that have to go in. There's a level of detail, right? Can somebody just leave the login field, username field blank and just log in? Would that be possible? What kind of error message will we show out there to the person if they didn't enter the field, or they skipped the username field and they didn't enter it? So all these details have to be discussed, guys. Very important, right? And then we talk about view bank account balance, right? And then we say 3 days. March 5th to March 8th, right? There's a number of days it's going to take me for me to work on bank account balance. The same thing that just like I've discussed with you for sign up or sign in, registration, login, that's the same level of detail we need to talk about. What does the customer see when they log in into the account, right? How do we display their bank account balances, right? What are the information, services, and all those type of things that are going to be in there? So we need to discuss all this. If it's a brand new bank, a new bank we're setting up, we need to discuss all these services and all those things that we need to put out there for the customer, right? Wire transfer, right? Wire transfer, I say it's going to take me 5 days. Guys, take a look over here. So wire transfer, that is, table 1.4, wire transfer 5 days from the 8th of March to the 13th of March, right? But wire transfer, there's a breakdown. I have 1.4.1 and I have 1.4.2. Take a closer look at this. I have wire transfer within the bank. So let's say Chris and we all bank with Bank of America, right? I can transfer money And that's what we're going to consider as what within network or within the bank, right? Chris is a customer of Bank of America. I'm also a customer of what Bank of America. So within network, there's a certain level of details that we need to use for this. If it is outside of the bank, so let's say Chris maybe banks with maybe JP Morgan Chase, and I bank with Bank of America, right? So if I want to transfer money, do a wire transfer to Chris, different bank, JP Morgan Chase, this is a different process altogether, right? And we need to be able to capture details same way. So as you guys can see, 5 days, 2 days is for what? Within the bank, right? We're going to capture all the details and requirements, how the process is going to work for us to transfer money to somebody within the same bank. Maybe just the name will suffice. Maybe just the email. We will have a field for the amount you want to transfer. We'll have a field from where you are originating from. Are you transferring from your checking account, from your savings account, for any type of account that you have that you transfer or moving these funds from? We got to be able to state it. We got to be able to select it. Whatever we want to do is going to be out there, guys. And then outside of the bank, we're going to require additional information like routing number, right? Name of the bank, address, right? We will take in more additional information, right? So 3 days, that is what we have down here for something, for wire transfer, requirement gathering process or elicitation for outside of the bank. So total, when we put it together, the total is going to be what, 5 days. So 2 days for within the bank and then 3 days for outside the bank. Hope this is clear enough, right? Let's move to the next one. Bill payment, because I know you guys gave me only 5 minutes. I have 3 minutes more to finish up with this. So bill payment, same thing. 5 days put down, over here for bill payment. We have in-network bill payment and we have out-of-network bill payment, right? In-network bill payment, I'm saying 2 days. That's the number of days it's going to take me. And then I have out-of-network bill payment, I'm saying 3 days for that. So from March 13th to 18th, I'm capturing requirement for bill payment, right? For bill payment. And so 2 days here, 3 days here, and then we are done, right? And then we'll do that. So the same thing, for instance, if I have a credit card, if I have some type of account with the bank I can pay my bill to the bank easily, within the bank, right? Because they have issued me this credit card. They have issued me this loan facility that I'm making payments, installment payment every month, right? So within the bank bill, it's very easy, but outside of the bank. So some banks, they can allow you to pay your, let's say, phone, telephone bill, your gas bill, right? Any type of bill that you can think about. They allow you to pay, they'll collect the money, they do the collection. Once they take in the money, they will remit the money to whoever that is going to be the receiver, right? So I can say, let's say, T-Mobile. I have my phone with maybe T-Mobile. So once I have my phone with T-Mobile, maybe Verizon, when the month comes to an end, I need to pay my phone bill. I pay my bank takes the money, and then they remit the money to the receiver, T-Mobile, right? Or maybe Verizon. That's what happened. So, but there are a lot of details before all this transaction will say it's successful, it has ended. There's a cycle. There's a life cycle to this transaction, right? From where it starts, information that are collected, and then all the details that we need to supply for us to be able to pay our bill. So in-network bill payment, out-of-network bill payment. So 15th from the 30th of March to 18th, right? We've captured all the details right there. But when this is done, you guys see over here, we have the 18th of March, right? That is when the out-of-network bill payment ends, 18th of March, right? And then on the 23rd, maybe it's a weekend. So maybe we come back, whatever day, holiday and whatever. So as my number of days shows over here, submission BRD to client, I'm going to take a certain number of days to put all these details together, right? I ended my elicitation maybe on the 18th of March, and then myself, I need some time to put this document together so that we know that this is a business requirement document that clients can sign off, or the stakeholder can sign off and say, yes, you've captured all this. So I take time and I put it in the right format, put it together like a booklet, put all the details that I've collected for all the different features that we want to build, from sign up, login, account balance, wire transfer, within bank, outside of bank, bill payment, and whatnot, right? I've captured all these details and then I put together. And then 23rd of April, what do? I submit it to the client or the stakeholder. I say, hey, this is what I've captured so far. So review, right? So the clients will look at it, and then they will say, okay, well, there are some information that I'm missing, right? I've got some, the client will look at this, and then the client might say, well, we've reviewed the business requirement document, but it looks like there are some information missing, right? So the well, it might even take a couple of days. So you guys remember from day one, we talk about the SME, subject matter expert, solution owner, all these guys, right? So these are the guys that you submitted this BRD to. And then they are so busy. So we have 5 days over here, right? Review requirements, item number 3 over here, review requirement. So 5 days is what I've put down so that, they are busy, they have a tight schedule, but within 5 days, I expect that they will take some time off their busy schedule and then review the requirement document. They might even come back to me or circle back with me earlier than even the 5 days. But when they do that, it's all good, right? But at least I have 5 days here as a budget, right? So from 24th to the 30th of April, right? And as you guys can see, the dependencies over here, I forgot to be talking about the dependence on the side, but the dependency over here is what? Item number 2. So what's item number 2? Item number 2 is submission. I need to submit the requirement document before review can happen from the stakeholder side, right? As you guys can see, submission also to the client for review is item number 1. So that means I need to have completed requirement elicitation documentation before I can submit it. That is basically all the dependency and what it means over here, right? It's very simple as well. And then, 5 days. So SME solution owner, now they get back to me and then they update me with some corrections. They say, no, here, the bill payment, you capture something over here, but it's not entirely correct. So this is the right information. So they give it to me and then I update what information they've given back to me in about 8 days, right? I put all the things together again and then I submit it to them for a final one. And then finally, the BRD gets approved maybe by May 5th, right? By who? By the solution owner, right? So the solution owner now finally approves it. And then we have what? A business requirement document. That means this is going to be our requirement document. We've captured all the details for functional, non-functional use cases, all the things that we need to see. We have all the things in there, right? And let me show you guys something here real quick. So business requirement document, typically, as I close here tonight, we'll typically have this, a table of content, right? Document revision history. It's going to have approvals, project overview, business processes affected. It's going to have a section for risks. It's going to have a section for assumption. It's going to have a section for diagrams and workflows, graph, model, prototype, structure sentence, glossary, and appendix. It's going to have all these kind of details in there. But essentially, it will capture the level of detail will majorly. It was going to be heavy on this feature set that we have captured over here. So guys, this is our business requirement document. Waterfall. We are closing down Waterfall, but tomorrow we're going to take off from here. But any question, anything else, I don't want to take, and I know tonight, can you use Gantt chart? Yes. You can use that. There are so many, there are so many tools that are out here. Any question? So question. Are we all good? Are we all good? I know tonight is a lot of information we've unpacked. Can you please review? Oh, let me unmute you guys so I can hear you. I forgot to unmute you guys. Robert, you're saying something I want to hear, so you can unmute yourself. Oh, you say in network. Okay. I think I see what you're saying. Is that correct? Are you unmuted?
Yes, I just got a bit lost on the in network and out of network bill payments.
Right. So what I was saying is that for some bill payments, right? Some bill payment, we're going to have bill payments that are in network. So when I say in network, that means they are within the bank, right? So the bank, you take a look at a bank, they provide different services. They can provide maybe a car loan, a mortgage, credit card, They provide so many things, but
Okay.
especially when they give to people, people have to pay back on installment monthly, right?
Yes.
So this is going to it's going to be categorized under in-network, and then out of network is something outside of the bank that they need to pay for you, right?
Okay, I understood.
Okay, all right. Anything else? Anything else, guys? I'm looking at chat here. Okay, all right. Oh, I see a chat. Come on. Yes, I'm mute. Okay. Let me try. I know tonight we're doing overtime. Tonight we're doing overtime, right? And it's good. It's good because we're learning. We're getting business done, right? We're getting business, so it's good. All right.
Yes. So then I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I want to find out if companies have framework that will guide you through all these project requirements, or one have to develop one for himself when you find yourself in working environment.
Yeah, typically when you go into an environment, they may have some old BLDs that exist, right? So you might be lucky to find, you might chance on some old BLD document or business requirement documentation, and then when there is something like that, I'm calling you that you are favored, you are blessed, right? But there's going to be some instance that there are no old BLDs. It has never existed. They have never even had a PO, product owner, before. You're going to be the first person, so they expect you to bring in all the standards and all those kind of things. So you're going to be the author, right? You're going to be the primary author for this, right? So you might be the first person. So if it happens that there's already existing, documentation, great. You already know how they're doing it, right? You already know how they're doing it. So that's going to be that's the easiest one, right? It's going to be very easy. But even with that, you don't necessarily pick up the old structure and then just run with it. There's a reason why they brought you. They want you to bring some difference, right? So you can get some inspiration from that, but don't just lift and copy and do the same thing, right? It's just to serve as pointers, just for you to get some inspiration, but don't just lift and just do the same thing again.
And just one more question. Is there, so with this program, what certification is recommended? I'm just asking.
Yeah, there are so many certifications out there, like CSPO certified, product owner certification. There's CSM certified Scrum Master. You can even do PMP if you want. There's so many certifications out there. You can contact me. All right. Any questions? Anybody with any questions?
Okay.
Yes. I want to ask a question.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so during the NFR, you spoke about performance requirement.
Yes, sir.
And you said that the system should be able to open at least within 5 seconds, no matter how many people are on it. So my question is it always there like that? Because in Ghana, we have internet speed issues. So we have always been made to know that when you are opening something and it's delaying, is your internet that is slow. It's always like that performance requirement.
This is good. This is going to be a symposium discussion, right? So this is going to be a symposium discussion. So there are a couple of things that we need to assess or maybe evaluate before we can arrive at something. But largely, we have two problems in Ghana. The platform itself is bad, and the internet service is also poor, right? Okay. So both internet service, speed, it's getting better. I think while I was in Ghana, I was using, MTN fiber broadband. I think it's good. It's great, but people say it's expensive, right? And I think I also use Vodafone broadband also in at my office as well. So yes, all these internet services, they're all getting better, by the way. But internet service in Ghana is poor. It's bad. And then also platforms and systems are also, poorly designed and poorly done as well. So it is a combination of the two.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
So can I take the last one, and if you can hear me?
Yes. We can hear you.
Okay, so this time is really key in a project like this, and so my question is, sometimes you want to take certain information from key stakeholders And most of the time, if you can agree with me, business owners really do not know exactly what they want. So taking or getting information from them really can be, time consuming. And if it happens like that, of course, you have timelines to meet. If it happens like that, how are you going to, handle that? And then the second question is, you would have a meeting with them. You would have gathered all information. They will tell you what their requirements are. They will tell you what they want and all that. But then they will come and tell you, just as you rightly said, they'll come and tell you, okay, we talked about this, but it's not there. Is there any template that you follow that so that, when it comes out like that, you're able to tell them, no, I don't think we discussed this. Okay, so if it's something that is like a variation, this is what we need to handle it and all that. So when it happens like that, how are you going to manage it?
Yeah, so with the first one, so let's start with the first one, which is, oh man, I've forgotten right now. What's the first one?
Having time with the
stakeholder. Okay, right. So yeah, so if the stakeholder is not available, it's not accessible, the stakeholder is in coma in the hospital, you cannot talk to him, right? So let's talk about a very extreme situation. The stakeholder is probably might be in a hospital in coma and cannot talk, right? So what do you do? So this is the reason why you are the mini product, you own the product, right? The title over here says you are the business analyst, you are the product owner. So that means you own a piece of this project. You got to be able to research when all fails. You got to be able to look at the competitors, landscape and see what the competitors are doing. If you don't have anybody to talk to be able to glean and say, this is a feature that you guys want to build, you are the product owner. The owner here is not just an English word, but you own the product feature set, right? You own it. So you got to be able to tell them what kind of features can we build that's going to be great for our customers, that our customers need at this time. You have the responsibility or the duty to re-architect system processes, right? Change things, make it more better, more efficient, right? So yes, stakeholders are your go-to people to be able to glean from them, what you guys want to build. But if the person is in coma, right, does that mean we'll have to suspend the entire project till the person recovers after 6 months, after 8 months, and then put the entire project in jeopardy? No, we're not going to do that, right? So there's always going to be somebody else that you can talk to as well. So that person might not necessarily be the only person that knows everything when it comes to this project. So the alternative or the option that's good available to you is to talk to a different subject matter expert, somebody within that department who knows something about this. So that's going to be the maybe the thing that you'll have to do. And then you ask a question about maybe stakeholder coming back and telling you something that is totally different from what have been expressed during the station period or duration. Now we have something we call in scope and out of scope, right? So in scope and out of scope. So the person might be coming to you. You guys have captured every detail, the product features that you guys want to build. So, and then once you guys start with the development work, it's already ongoing. You guys are already in motion. You guys are building. The person come back and say, oh, if you guys can add this, or if you guys can change this, right? See, there are certain things that you can do or you can accommodate. We also want to make our customers and our stakeholders happy. But again, like I said the other day, we do not want to compromise on the quality of our code or our deliverables, right? We do not want to compromise on that. And so what do? We got to be firm where we need to be firm. We got to be able to tell them that no, when we got to tell them no. We got to say yes when we can say yes to them, right? As long as we want to make them happy, as much as we want to keep them, close to us and they are dear to us, but we also don't want to entertain changes, at random times and difficult times as well. So we got to be firm. And we got to be able to tell them whether this is in scope. Is this really part of this product feature set? Is it part of this project, or it is out of scope? It is something that is outside of this project, right? So we got to be able to define this and say, no, what you're asking for is not part of this project. It is out of scope. What you're asking for is difficult. It's supposed to be part of this. We didn't or we didn't recognize this in the beginning. But even if it is in scope, we have something we call change management. It will have to go through that change management process. We will talk about change management maybe in some in the future, but there's a change management process that, you know, essentially this will have to go through, right? All right, guys, anything else? I know tonight, you know, we're doing overtime, right? I'm okay with it because, you know, we're learning. Anything else? So my webpage developer don't have this requirement gathering. So no timeline for action to be done. Is it because they don't know about it? so to answer the question right here. So yes, of course, you know, they have no knowledge about whatever we're talking about, right? They just go and just do anything. So that's why what we're doing over here, we're bringing professionalism, we're bringing standards. This is what the world, whatever I'm telling you guys, this is what Fortune 500 companies, this is how we build, we deploy, and we ship out product, right? Everything I'm sharing with you is what I've gone through with Fortune 500 companies. So, you know, for your whatever developer you're working with, you don't have to talk to that person. All right, guys, we will take off from here tomorrow. Thank you guys for accommodating almost about 20 minutes, 22 minutes, wow. So 22 minutes of your time. Thank you guys. And tomorrow we will take off from here and then we'll go on so many directions. All right, good night.
Good night.